This is a story of how I started a company with Iman Gadzhi.
And that's the thing as well. It's like, that's why I have a business partner. Like for that company, I hate business partners. Because now at my stage, I need to have someone who really understands the ins and outs. Let me introduce you to my co-founder now. And look at this slick guy.
Hey guys, so my name is Pierre-Antoine. Met Iman about pretty much exactly a year to this day. It was in December 2020. A year and a half when we actually met, and then about a year since I proposed like kind of the idea and kind of for us to join forces on this. So now we're all here in Dubai, just getting it all done, making sure 2022 is the year. So that's that. As some of you know, I'm originally from Switzerland. And when I was 19, I moved to Sydney, Australia to do a bachelor in mathematics. And after completing both my bachelor and my master in mathematical and statistical modeling, I started working as an algorithmic trader. And really at that point, that's everything that I wanted to do. And as most tourists coming here to Australia, of course, I started surfing. And at the time I was making good money, so I immediately wanted to get like the best of everything, wetsuits, surfboards. And this is when I met this guy called Max Stewart, who had started this small surfboard company. And so of course, I've always been into investing, I've always been into how can I make my money work for itself. And so instead of spending a serious amount of money on a watch, I thought, why don't I invest in this business? And boom, I ended up investing in a surfboard factory. And to this day, they still make the coolest and literally the highest quality surfboards they can find on the market. I know this sounds super random, but this is how my entire entrepreneurial journey really started. So as soon as I became an investor, I really started to think of ways of how can we make more money? How can we market the product better? And at the time, the guys from My Symmetry used to go to the US every single year to try and sell the surfboards. And so I thought to myself, why don't we send a few boards to like a bunch of influencers in the US so they can start promoting the surfboards prior to them coming. So when we arrive in the US, boom, people already know about us and we can start selling our surfboards much easier. And so I thought to myself, all right, cool. How do we find influencers? And this is way back when. And so I started searching, and really to my surprise, there was literally nothing. I was sure a platform would exist to go and find influencers, connect with them and stuff, but literally nothing. This is way back in 2015. And so I was like, that is literally crazy. Like every single brand wants to work with influencers. Influencers wants to work with brand. Surely there's something that needs to be done. And literally then and then I was like, this is it. This is what I've got to build. So I pretty much dropped everything else I was doing and literally focused all my efforts in building this platform, which was a marketplace for influencers and brand to connect and manage the entire collaboration. So here's lesson number one. Don't do the same as everyone else. Me moving to Australia from Switzerland, that was random. Me investing in a surfboard company, again, super random. And then deciding to come up with an entirely new business idea that was completely different from what I was doing, very traditional kind of finance stuff. That again is the exact opposite of what everyone tells you to do. But again, here we are. So after a few months of working on the software, I moved from Sydney back to London, where I thought, this is like one of the center of the world. It'd be much easier to get access to capital, much easier to find developers, everything. And of course, I worked really hard. I had built pretty much the MVP of the platform and try and find brands and try and influencers to bring on the platform. It was really like super difficult because of course, how do you find brands if you don't have any influencers on the platform? And how do you find influencers if you don't have tons of brand? So really chicken and egg, and it was really difficult. And also because it was super early, people didn't really understand. Mainly because most of the brand I would speak to, they all had super shitty social media. Like their Instagram looked terrible. And so most of the brands were actually coming to us and be like, hey, could you help us with social media? Like essentially, we need to do better so we can work with better influencers. And so this is how I started my social media marketing agency. So I did that for a while. It was great. We're helping, brands with the social media, like better Instagram content, a bit of Facebook stuff here and there. And really was fun. And it really took off much, much more than what the software was doing. And so after a year of doing this, I just decided to stop working on the software. It just didn't make sense. The market wasn't ready. I was spending tons and tons of money. Pretty much all of the money that the agency was doing, I was spending on developers and other types of costs related to building software. So we decided, hey, let's stop that so we can go all in on the agency. Here's lesson number 2. Things takes at least 3 times longer and cost at least 3 times more than what you originally think. And at the time, the CEO of the software pulled me aside and told me, hey, this guy that we've been working with is literally one of the best developer I've ever seen. Literally, if I were you, I would do anything I can in order to try and keep him. So at the time, it was literally pretty much no money left in the bank. You know, all of the money they were making on the agency were just dumping it straight back on the software. So I told everyone, hey guys, we can't keep working on this, but literally I was like, I've got to keep this guy. And so I kept working with him month after month, paying him out of my own pocket just to make sure we could keep building a software. And at that time I was like, hey, if I can't build this marketplace for influencers, why don't I build a software that would at least be useful for me as an agency owner? At that time, the agency had slowly started to shift from a content agency to a full-fledged growth partner agency, which was amazing. We're helping brands, on social media, run ads, all of that. So really, me continuing to work on the software almost makes no sense. People really couldn't understand. My parents, even my now wife, pretty much everyone around me told me, this is stupid. You spend so much money on this platform. Like, it's just time to call it quits. But for me, in the back of my mind and in my gut, I was just like, I know one day I'm going to turn this into something crazy. So I just kept paying month after month and again, chipping at it, trying to build a product that would be at least useful for us. And here is lesson number 3. Build resilience. It's literally one of the most important things, that and trusting yourself. Like, if you don't trust in yourself, who else will? And so literally the whole time, everyone told me to stop. People were like, are you still spending money on that? This is just crazy. And look at where we're at now. And it's around that time that I got exposed to Iman.
To passion versus practicality. And I've come to learn in life that it's important to have passions that are separate from your income. If you don't, some other guy will. You've been taught your entire life, money is this very scarce item, so you have to be very careful around it and all this stuff, when unequivocally that's not true.
I bought an Instagram account for one of our clients. Back in the days, theme pages were a thing. So we had bought an account with hundreds of thousands of followers for this client. And when I got access to the account, I just started to kind of go through the account and see what was up. And the guy was actually following Iman. I had never heard of him. And so this was my first exposure to Iman. So I started following here and there. And, after a month of being exposed to him and seeing the content, seeing everything he was doing, and then he was very, very much agency focused, I was like, this is amazing. And one day he decided to do a promotion on his course. And just then and there, I just bought the course, like immediately. And so even though we were already doing really well as an agency, we had a bunch of clients, on commission-based retainer, we were making good money and stuff. Literally what I learned in the course was mind-blowing. And literally to this day, it's transformed how we actually operate. The way we onboard clients, a number of different things. So I was just like, this is nuts. Like, the quality of the course is literally amazing. And so in the back of my head, I was like, you know what? If I ever start again, this is the type of person I want to start with. So fast forward to 2020, my wife started a company called Female Startup Club, where she interviews really successful female founders, people that make, hundreds of millions a year, all the way to crazy exits. She takes all of the knowledge from those successful female founders and distill them into courses and educational content. And so she started a course specific for Facebook ads, which I taught because, again, we're it's COVID, we're in lockdown. What else could we do? And so for me, I was like, Facebook ads at the time was my bread and butter. So literally built a course, was amazing. We launched it, got some sales right off the bat. And so I was thinking, okay, cool. Well, obviously we now should find an agency that just focuses on digital product, because I was mainly focusing on fashion brands and, D2C kind of product. But so I was like, who is the best person out there who can help us blow this digital product? And so this is when I was like, well, I had followed Iman for a while. I had seen what he'd done with his agency and stuff. So I was like, why don't we start working with those guys? So literally contacted what was called then IG Media, so Iman's agency, and literally went through the process of starting to work together. And after a few months, I was just blown away by, again, Iman and the quality and everything, that I thought to myself, I'm like, hey, this might be it. This is the moment. I should literally take this opportunity to try and pitch him the idea of, this new company and this new software. So literally, that's exactly what I did. And in fact, here's the first message I've sent him about this. Lesson 4, use the third door. Find creative ways to get in contact with people. Use your imagination and be like, what could I do that would be different from anyone else? And actually, I would highly recommend all of you guys to go and read this book called Third Door by Alex Banayan. It's just so funny looking back. So he got back to me, we decided to meet up. I went to his house in Knightsbridge, literally the best neighborhood in London, crazy house that he had. And again, I started to show him what I had built, some of the things that I thought could be good for us to work on. And pretty much then and there, he was just like, I get pitched so many different business ideas. I get so much money from different products that I do affiliate marketing for. So really, I've been thinking to myself, hey, I should start something. But everyone that came to me with ideas just wasn't it. And so, you know, in the meeting, I was like, okay, well, this is it. I've really got to convince him. So literally try and show him, et cetera, et cetera. Meeting went amazing. I went back home and I was like, wow, this is crazy and stuff. Waited a few days and he got back to me with a loom, which again, it's kind of funny. I just found it. So here's some clips.
I mentioned this to you already. I'm feeling really good about it. Made some notes here. Communication has to be inward and outward facing, and then can hit approve, needs review, or in progress. Something like that would be clutch. You know, it's a great software, but I want it to be bulletproof when I launch it to my audience.
Right away, like he wanted to be way more than just an affiliate. He literally was like, you know, let's start a company together. Here's my vision. Here's what I want to do. I want to make sure that people can onboard their clients, chat with them, both internally and externally. So literally, I thought to myself, that's it. I've got to take this opportunity. It's just literally a once in a lifetime opportunity to work with a guy like that. So right off the bat, I was like, let's do it. We essentially started a brand new company, executed on his vision. You know, he wanted a bunch of different things. We sat down, so many different brainstorm sessions, coming up with the name, coming up with exactly all the features they would do. And so really that turned what I originally had built to this crazy next level tool that would actually be super, super useful for agencies. So after a few weeks of like brainstorming, meeting up a few times, we decided to organize a dinner at my place to kind of celebrate. It's middle of winter in London and he arrives and essentially he's got like some crazy bottles of wine. You know, he knew that I'm massively into wine. He didn't know too much at the time. Now he's crazy. He knows so much and he's tried all of the craziest wine. But at the time, he didn't know much. He had done some research and came with some crazy wines. So anyway, you know, took his jacket, put it in the closet, blah, blah, and we sit down to have some drinks. So I opened a bottle of Bollinger Rosé to kind of celebrate us starting to work together. And after a few drinks, he literally pulls that little bag out and is like, hey, this is for you. I was like, what do you mean? So anyway, I opened the bag up and boom, here is this crazy Mont Blanc pen, which I'm going to show you. It's literally the craziest thing I've ever used. I always carry a pen with me, like in all my suits. And so this is like literally the best gift for me ever. And I'll never forget what he said. The reason why he got me this is like, when the time comes to sell the company, we'll both have the same pen to sign the papers. And I was like, just so much class, just crazy. And again, at the time, that's like a barely 20-year-old guy, you know, like crazy. And so anyway, we continued drinking and I'm pretty sure that actually, so I had, you know, lined up a bunch of different wine, all cool stuff. We even finished with like Sauternes sweet wine. And I'm pretty sure that he actually went out that night. And the next morning, he actually went and ran his first half marathon. Because the week later, he had actually kind of decided he would run a full marathon in the middle of winter in London. It was raining, it was miserable, but that's just sums up working with Iman. Pure class and unlimited resilience. Just nothing phases him. And to this day, this is what I get to see on a daily basis. It's just crazy, you know, like his ability to manage stress, his vision on, you know, the market and everything, just resilience probably is the main thing that actually describes him, and class, you know, the generosity, everything. Again, just thinking that I've actually used this line now a few times, a bunch of people I worked with, because I think it's just so cool. So anyway, that kind of sums up working with Iman.
What's the verdict?
Marvelous. I don't know how to live without this. I don't know how to live without all this. The skiing, the fondue, the snow. I mean, obviously, it's the first time I've ever seen snow.
Yeah. And so again, a few months later, we officially launched the software in January 2022. So both Louis, who's now the current CMO at Iman's company, and I both flew to Dubai to kind of, again, do a full week of brainstorming and everything and put everything together just to be able to launch. And again, I will just never forget that moment. We're all three of us there in his apartment. It's probably late at night, like 1 a.m. or something. And we literally press the go button. And literally Iman just, turns on the tap, like a few stories on his Instagram, and boom, we're getting orders after orders and stuff. And like, I was like, this is just nuts. I've never seen this before. Today we're launching officially to some of the members outside.
Oh my God.
Anyway. Yeah, but as I said, oh man, it's bumping. It's cool.
Is it okay? We're not Phil anymore.
Yeah, like now some good ones. Look at
There we go. There we go.
We did it.
Good work.
And now, a year later, we're making 7 figures in annual recurring revenue. We have over 16,000 agencies who've signed up, and it's just the beginning. We haven't even started promoting it. In fact, it's just so crazy to look at the evolution, even of just a design. From what it first started to what we just launched with to what it looks now. It's just crazy. And literally right now we're building the craziest AI tools. We're integrating with so many different software that's literally going to be one of the best tools for digital agencies, coaches, and consultants. So I'm so excited. It's just the craziest thing ever. I'm just so proud to be working with Iman, and our relationship is just the best. In real life, you can really understand how next level he is. Just his aura and his energy when you're just around him is just nuts. Again, his generosity and really his understanding of the market and the macroeconomics and stuff is just mind-blowing. And so I honestly think that we're going to build something that's absolutely ridiculous. I'm so excited. I really can't wait for what's to come. And again, I would really like to thank you, Iman, for this crazy opportunity and everything we're building. Our entire team, over 30 people now. This is just nuts. I'm so excited. And let's see what we can do. Lesson 5. Just work hard for long enough and good things will happen to you. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Again, have a great day to all of you. See ya.